Hello, good afternoon, dobar dan, dobrodošli u novu video lekciju. U ovoj video lekciji čitat ćemo bajku, dakle u pitanju je Cinderella, Pepeljuga. Pričat ću više na engleskom nego na srpskom, dakle slušajte pažljivo, obratite pažnju na svaku rečenicu, na svaku reč, na svaki detalj, pogledajte videoklip nekoliko puta, imajte cilj i zadatak da vi uspete sami da ispričate Cinderella. Dakle, to vam je zadatak. Hoću da ispričam Pepeljugu na engleskom sama. Ovo je naravno neka skraćena verzija koju ja sad čitam, nema onoliko detalja kao što ima recimo u pravom filmu Disneyovom o Cinderelli ili u nekim knjigama, ali dovoljno reči, dovoljno interesantne gramatike, interesantnog vokabulara za sve vas koji ste na malo višem nivou, tako da enjoy. So today we are going to talk about Cinderella. Do you know who Cinderella is? Da li znate ko je Cinderella? Pepeljuga. Cinderella is a fairy tale full of magic and adventure. Dakle, Cinderella je bajka. Fairy tale je bajka. And of course, all fairy tales are full of magic and adventure. Dakle, puna je magije, magičnih događaja i avantura. It is full of magic and it's full of adventure. And it is a fairy tale. A fairy tale. Bajka. Once, a beautiful girl named Cinderella lived with her wicked stepmother and two step-sisters. So, there was a girl. And she was beautiful. Of course, she was beautiful. She was young and beautiful. Her name was Cinderella. And she lived with her stepmother and her stepsisters, two of them. So her mother, I think, died or something like that. Yes, her mother died. And then her father remarried. Opet se oženio, her father remarried, and then she got a stepmother. Dakle, dobila je maćehu. And she was wicked. So wicked, it means like mean, for example. Mean, zla. Even evil. Mean and evil and wicked stepmother. And she, her stepmother also had but two daughters, not one, two daughters. And these two daughters, her stepsisters, were also mean and evil, and they were not at all kind to Cinderella. They were not polite, they were not good, so they were bad, and they behaved really badly. The stepmother made her do all the housework, and he was very cruel to her. We forgot cruel. Okay, so the stepmother made her do all the housework, and she was also very cruel to her, and stepsisters as well. So stepmother was cruel to her, and stepsisters were cruel, mean, evil to her. So the stepmother made her do. Dakle, ona je terala nju da radi sve kućne poslove i bila je veoma surova prema njoj. Cruel, heartless, bez srca. Heartless and cruel to her. So, what did she make her do? Šta je terala da radi? What did she make her do? Did she make her clean the house? Yes, she made her clean the house. Did she make her cook? Yes, she made her cook. So she made her do all the housework. Do the dishes, cooking, ironing, cleaning, washing, everything. She made her do all the housework. Was she kind to her? Was she nice and polite and pleasant? No, she was not pleasant, prijatna, ljubazna. She wasn't pleasant at all. She wasn't kind, she wasn't polite, she wasn't gentle, nežna. She wasn't any of that. She was cruel, she was heartless, she was wicked, she was mean, she was evil. So she was bad. And her made her do all the things in the house. One day, the stepmother and stepsisters went to a ball. They went to a ball in the king's palace, and leaving Cinderella behind. So they left her in the house. They left her behind. So jednog dana stepmother i stepsisters su otišli na bal u kraljevu palatu, ostavljajući Cinderella u Pepeljugu iza, bukvalno ostavljajući je iza. So when you leave somebody behind, so you don't take that person with you. Dakle, nisu je poveli. So, did they bring Cinderella to the king's palace? Did they bring her as well? No, they didn't bring Cinderella. They left Cinderella behind. They left her behind. So Cinderella had to stay at home. And stepmother and stepsisters, they went to a ball. So where did they go? Did they go to a party? Yes, they went to a party. It was a kind of party. It was a ball in the king's palace. So Cinderella didn't have a dress. She didn't have anything nice to put on. The obuče. She didn't have anything nice to put on. And she couldn't go. And stepmother and stepsisters didn't want her to go because she was so beautiful. So they were jealous. Ljubomorni, they were jealous and they left her behind. They left her behind. Cinderella really, really wanted to attend the ball, and she felt very sad that she had been left behind. So she really, really wanted to go. She wanted to attend the ball. Dakle, želela je da prisustvuje balu i osjećala se veoma tužno. She felt very sad because she had been left behind. She was sad because she had been left behind. So she was sad in the past i onda past perfect zbog nečega što se desilo pre. She had been left behind. So what did Cinderella really want to do? She really wanted to go in the king's palace. She really wanted to attend the ball. She really wanted to go there. Could she go there? No, she couldn't. Da li je mogla? Nije. She couldn't go there. And how did she feel? How did she feel? Of course, sad. She was sad. Probably really sad and depressed. And she cried probably a lot because she really, really wanted to attend the ball, but she couldn't. She was left behind. She was left behind. Suddenly, a fairy godmother appeared in a burst of light, and she used her magic to transform Cinderella into a princess wearing a lovely dress and glass slippers. Suddenly, iznenada, a fairy godmother, Vila, appeared, se pojavila in a burst of light. U jednom iznenadnom svetlu koje se iznenada pojavilo, the burst of light, and she used her magic, iskoristila je svoju magiju, maybe a magic wand, možda magični štapić, to transform Cinderella into a princess, or to turn Cinderella into a princess. Da transformiše Cinderellu u princezu koja je nosila a lovely dress and glass slippers, koja je nosila dražasnu, divnu dress haljinu and glass slippers, i staklene, znači slippers su papuče, ali ona je nosila glass shoes, but okay, they call it glass slippers. So we will say glass shoes. Cipele, staklene cipelice su to bile, ali ovo su slippers, su papuče. Okay. So what happened? So Cinderella was sad, she was crying, she was left behind, and suddenly, something really, really nice happened. So a fairy godmother appeared, and She used her magic, because godmothers have magic, vile imaju moć, and she transformed Cinderella into a beautiful young woman, a princess, and she made her a lovely dress and glass slippers. So now Cinderella was ready to go. She had a beautiful dress, she had glass slippers, and she looked beautifully. She looked like a princess. Thanks to fairy godmother. Zahvaljujući vili. Thanks to fairy godmother. She also turned a pumpkin and some mice into a carriage and horses, respectively. Što znači respectively? So, she turned a pumpkin into a carriage. She turned some mice into horses. So this respectively znači da je pumpkin išlo u carriage, a da je mice išlo u horses. Znači respectively znači kojim redom se dešavalo. So, she turned a pumpkin into a carriage. She turned some mice, miševe, znači jedan je mouse, a 2, 3, 4, 5 su mice, miševi, nepravilna množina. So she turned some mice into horses. So first she turned Cinderella into a princess, and then she turned the pumpkin into a carriage, u kočiju, pumpkin je bundeva, into a carriage, and some little mice, she turned them into horses. And Cinderella could now attend the ball. Now Cinderella was ready. She had everything that she needed to attend the ball. She had a dress, she had a carriage, and horses to take her there. Znači imala je haljinu, kočiju i konja. She had everything. She was ready to go and attend the ball. But the fairy godmother warned her that the magic will disappear, it will wear off at midnight, and that Cinderella should return home before that. So, Vila je upozorila, she warned her da će magic nestati u ponoć, the magic will wear off at midnight, i da bi ona trebalo da se vrati kući pre ponoći, before midnight, before that. So, there was one condition, bio je jedan uslov. So, the fairy godmother did all these magic things for Cinderella, but she warned her that her magic will disappear. It would wear off at midnight. So it was very, very important for Cinderella to come back home before midnight. So Cinderella should come back home before midnight, because at midnight the magic will wear off. The magic will disappear. So what did Cinderella do? When Cinderella arrived at the ball, the prince saw her and they fell in love immediately. So it was love at first sight. Ljubav na prvi pogled. Kad je Cinderella Pepeljuga stigla na bal, princ je video i zaljubio se. So when she arrived at the ball, the prince saw her and they fell in love with each other. So it was love at first sight. They fell in love. And they danced. They danced together until midnight. So they danced together until midnight. And stepmother and stepsisters were there and they were looking at them and they were so angry, furious, they couldn't believe what happened. But then the clock struck 12. Cinderella rushed to her carriage, leaving one of her glass slippers behind. So she and the prince, they were dancing, 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 but then the clock struck 12. Sat je otkucao 12. The clock struck 12. Cinderella rushed. So rushed, it means to go really quickly, to run. Znači požurila je u kočiju, ostavljajući jednu od svojih staklenih cipelica behind. Opet imamo leave behind. So first she was left behind. Ona je bila ostavljena, nije mogla da krene. And now she left her glass slipper behind. So she was running down the stairs and then one of her glass slippers fell off, otpala je od noge, sa noge, and she didn't have time to return to pick it up. Dakle, nije imala vremena da se vrati, da je pokupi. She didn't have time because the clock struck 12. It was 12 o'clock, and she remembered what this lady, fairy godmother, told her, that the magic would wear off, the magic would disappear at 12, so she didn't have time to go back and pick up her glass slipper, so she just rushed to the carriage and she left without her shoe. And the prince was running after her, and he couldn't catch up, nije mogao da je stigne, but he saw the glass slipper and she took it with him, and then he searched every house in town for the mysterious girl whose foot fit into the glass slipper. So this glass slipper was really, really tiny. And he took this glass slipper and he searched every house in town, and he made every girl try this slipper. So he was searching for a girl whose foot fit into the slipper. Znači, tražio je devojku čije će se stopalo uklopiti u tu cipelu. And if you remember, he came to Cinderella's house, and then the stepmother locked her on the attic. Zaključala na tavanu, I remember that vividly. And then the stepsisters tried to put their feet, their foot, because he had only one glass slipper, their foot into this glass slipper, but it was impossible because their feet were too long. So yes, he came to the wicked stepmother's house, and he found that shoe belonged to Cinderella. By the way, so the stepmother locked her at the attic, but the little mice helped her to find the key, and she unlocked the door, and she rushed downstairs, and he found the prince, and she tried on the slipper, and it fitted perfectly, and yeah, it was a happy end. So, došao je do kuće od zle maćehe i našao je da je cipela pripadala Cinderelli. So he found that the shoe belonged to Cinderella. It fitted perfectly. Savršeno je pristajala. Thus, the prince and Cinderella got married and lived happily ever after. Znači, eventually su se živjeli srećno do kraja života. Of course, we don't know what happened after they got married, but then they were really, really happy because they found each other and they got married and lived happily ever after. And okay, that was the story about Cinderella. If you like these stories, we can read some more fairy tales next time. Okay, see you.